Hello and welcome to the Indian Writers Forum. Today we have with us Keki Daruwalla, who is a poet, a short story writer, a novelist. He has also served with the Indian Police Service for many years. He was a former IPS officer. He's also won the Sahitya Academy and the Padma Shri, and 2 years ago he returned his Sahitya Academy award protesting against the increased intolerance in the country. Thank you very much, Keki ji, for coming here.
Thank you.
Mr. Daruwalla, since you are also a writer, there have been attacks directly on writers, people who have excelled really in writing, and we all know that you returned your Sahitya Academy award. It's been almost 2 years, 1.5, 2 years since that time. Do you think anything has changed as far as writing or the freedom to write is concerned?
You had Murugan, isn't it? And he was, on caste and on a caste basis that you have caste aspersions on a particular caste, and he was, he became a self-exiled writer. It was a very famous case. So you have instances of that kind, but otherwise there's freedom. You can write what you like in the press. You can, I'm sure, come out with a book. So we shouldn't talk of India as a sort of a police state or something. There is some pressure. For example, in Maharashtra, to speak even a word against or about Shivaji would be courting absolute disaster. Okay, so I suppose writers have to be careful. There was this Parsi writer, what is his name, Marzban something. He had not used, but a character in his novel had used the word Ghati, and then he is pilloried, that man. But people lodged cases against him in all sorts of 4 different courts. I remember Arundhati Roy's first novel. Even there someone said, oh, this is pornographic, the last scene, which is a very powerful scene. It will go down in Indian literature as a very powerful scene as far as fiction is concerned. But even she was dragged into the court. So our laws being what they are, we have to be very careful. We have to be careful, and I'm not trying to blame just the present setup. This has been there all along. The Marzban had to face this in during the Congress regimes, you see, both in Maharashtra and at the center, UPA too. So I'm not trying to pillory one particular government. I'm just saying that the atmosphere is very odd in this. Anyone can say, I am hurt.
But do you not think that now the attack has really escalated in terms of deaths of writers with Kalburgi, Pansare, and repeated threats?
That was Pansare and Dhabalkar's daughter was sitting with me when we got an award, and she said about the Maharashtra police, I'm telling you frankly, she said they'll do nothing. I don't know if that there is one man and there is one pistol with which he has killed all 3, and I'm amazed that Karnataka police and the Maharashtra police couldn't get hold of that one man. They get hold of every other criminal. They're very good. We must give them credit where they work very hard, all these CIDs and all the rest. But nobody bothered because he was from the Sanatan Sanstha. And again it is the rightist. And I don't know why we are going back into religion in such a big way. It's happening in education as well. If I was a chief minister, I would say go back to that old cliche, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai, aapas mein hai, bhai, bhai, and say that at the school assembly. rather than Saraswati Vandana, or I have nothing against Saraswati Vandanas and the Gayatri Mantra, but there is a bit too much of all this. And we know what happened at the Jamna and Shri Shri, and I don't think he has paid a pie, or at least none of the 5 crores which he should be paying for damaging. And the Green Tribunal, I don't know the exact acronym, they came up clearly saying that they have damaged, ecology has been damaged here for the next 10 years. And people just poo-poo this and they go on. So there is a lot of this old religiosity coming up. Why should it? I mean, at one place you say we should go digital, we should do this, we should do that, and on the other side the backwash, and the backwash is all, we'll find the Saraswati river, and I don't know how many crores have been given, and the Deras, the Ram Rahim has been given 50 lakhs by the sports minister of Haryana. Why? Because he said he's encouraging some games. I mean, we all know what must have transpired. You can speculate that Ram Rahim was instrumental in getting them votes. So I think there has to be a stop there as well. There has to be someone has to pull in the reins, and they are not always hard, because you can't blame the bureaucrats, you can't blame the police officers, because the decision has to come from the politicos. That is where things have changed. In my time, we never looked to the politicos. I mean, I was in Hapur as an ASP, and they wanted to throw out the Brahmakumaris from Hapur. And we said nothing doing, and we stood by it, and we never looked at this politician or that politician. We did it ourselves.
Mr. Daruwalla, I ask this to you really because you have served with the police force for so many years. This is a recent example, and there have been several prior to this. It was said that the police were mute spectators when the Thakurs in Saharanpur went on a rampage and rioted against the Dalits. What do you make of the police in India today? Are you disappointed? Are you satisfied?
I'm very disappointed. In fact, what the police and to an extent the entire administration is up to, which means the collector and the judicial magistrates, and that is anticipating the desires of the government. I mean, I know Shri Kumar used the phrase, he came before the National Commission for Minorities, where I was a member from 2011 to 2014, and I really came to grips with what is happening now, because I went to every major riot scene in the country. And he used the expression anticipatory sycophancy. So this is happening everywhere. In Madhya Pradesh, I found people, the pastors, 3 pastors were suddenly arrested. Why? I said, bring the anti-conversion law, because I knew it had to be the anti-conversion law. And one Hindu family wanted their father, who had died, to be buried in a Christian cemetery. Why not? For all you know, he may have been afraid of fire or anything, I have no. And the police immediately registered a case against those 3 people and arrested them. And then I came out with a letter to the Director General and the Chief Secretary that this is the first time I've heard of a corpse being converted, because there was no question of converting. The conversion didn't come in to in the parameters of what had happened. Eventually we got them off after a long story. It's a long story. In fact, I've written a short story, slightly tangential from the actual what had happened, and that is also called Bars. I've just called it Bars. So the police in Gujarat was absolutely a mute spectator in 2002, and why don't we talk about the police in 1984? Under the Congress, I mean, the Congress people are no angels, and let's be frank about it. And bigger atrocities were committed in 1984 than in 2002. Let's be clear about it. So, the police cozying up to the politicians is a very, very damaging development. And I have a feeling that no government, of course, will pass that kind of a rule or a law, but there are some institutions where you should not be allowed to seek another government job. The Chief Election Commissioner, he should never become a governor, and even Mr. Trivedi became a governor, Manoj Singh Gill became a minister. That should be out. They are very fine people, both of them, but this should be out. The director CBI should never get another posting. The previous Police Commissioner Delhi, now I can't stop Police Commissioner Delhi from, he got into the UPSC. But he got into the UPSC after charging people in JNU with sedition. And somebody should do something with our laws. I've written papers on the subject. It will come out in a book. But we have all this 153A and this ministry of herd sentiments, and this is all nonsense. I can write anything today, and tomorrow somebody will file a case against me in Nagarcoil and another in Kashmir, and I'll be running. I'll lose all my savings in 6 months. So it impinges on the freedom of, I don't know about press, because the press is also a lobby. And so if someone, let's say from a newspaper or from a TV channel is indicted, he has a support base. What about a man like me? Anyone can. Today, only the other day, someone said something about Shivaji, and he was beaten black and blue and thrown out. And if you notice with the police, they first register a case against the victim. Yeah. Whether it's beef or whether the first thing they do is to register a case against the victim. I'm quite amazed. And the other thing I want to say about the police is, let's have less and less encounters. I started my service as an ASP in Dehradun and Meerut, where the DIG Meerut was NS Saxena, very, very fine police officer. And one of his rules was, no encounters in my range. And I have stuck by that. I have been in actual encounters because I have been twice in anti-dacoity. I was SP anti-dacoity operations in UP, and in one encounter where they threw grenades at us. This was on August 10th, and those grenades landed in small puddles, and the water went up like an artesian well, and we caught 4 people. The others ran away. It was an encounter at night, and there were people, sub-inspectors and constables, ke sab in a maar de. I said, nothing doing. Nothing doing. The same happened with 2 or 3 cases. It has happened with me, where at least 3 I can clearly remember, where I was asked, sir, should we, and I said, nothing doing. So some people have to show their mettle and their leadership qualities, which a lot of people show. There are some very, very fine officers in the IPS still, and in the state police. But look at what happened in, sorry, I am just going on and on. Look at what happened in Hashimpura. Hashimpura was under the Congress, come on, 1980 or whatever the year is. Not 1980, it was close to 1989 or something. And the PAC shot over 40 Muslims and threw them in a canal. And nothing has happened to them. Successive regimes of Congress and SP and BSP, and they keep they keep on in service, they keep on getting their promotions, their increments. This lawlessness, complete lawlessness. I mean, and if the police department is lawless about its own murderers, they were murderers, come on, they killed 40 people, then what do you say about the police? The higher rungs of the police, they have to lead, and if they can't lead, then we are in a mess.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.